And trauma surgeon and Gaza medical volunteer Dr. Feroze Sidhwa is here now for more. Dr. Sidhwa, thank you for coming on. I know you led a letter from a group of medical workers calling for President Trump to end support for Israel. And in that letter, you say what's happening in Gaza is not a war because it's unlike anything we've seen before. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, just so people know, we actually called on President Trump to impose an arms embargo on Israel and all Palestinian armed groups because we want the killing to stop. Almost everybody who has worked in the Gaza Strip since October 7th, I'm talking about American doctors like me, has seen small children shot in the head on a regular basis there. We've seen that half of our casualties and most of our serious casualties or serious injuries are children. Very few of us have ever even seen a combatant in the Gaza Strip, let alone treated one. This is largely a war against the civilian population. Why that's being done, you'd have to ask the Israelis, but that's what they're doing. And they're using our weapons to do it, and we don't want that. That's pretty simple.
In the letter, you also write about seeing crimes beyond comprehension in Gaza. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected accusations of war crimes, saying, and I'm quoting here, "There's nothing more just than the war that Israel has been waging in Gaza." What's your response to that?
I mean, Prime Minister Netanyahu is welcome to go see it for himself in Gaza's hospitals. I'm sure they would welcome him, to be perfectly honest. According to public health studies, there are now probably 100,000 people dead from violence in Gaza. There are 1,700 healthcare workers who've been killed. I'm pretty sure that's over 10% of Gaza's healthcare workforce. 1 out of 3 hospitals in Gaza is functional in any capacity. And I promise you, if any American physician were to go to Gaza right now, they would not recognize any of the hospitals as actually being hospitals. Yair Golan, he's actually one of the, like your correspondent was just at the Reem Music Festival where hundreds of people were killed, like he said. Yair Golan is a retired Major General. He was 61 on October 7th. He went to the base, re-enlisted the morning that he realized what was going on, drove in his own car to Reem and started saving people. Well, what does he say about what Israel's doing? He said, and I'm quoting him exactly, "A sane country doesn't wage war against civilians, doesn't kill babies as a hobby," those are his words, "and does not engage in mass population displacement." So either the whole world is lying or Benjamin Netanyahu is lying. I don't know which. Your viewers will have to decide which one.
Your letter asks President Trump to meet to discuss what you and your colleagues have seen in Gaza. Have you heard back from anyone in the administration on that?
No, we haven't. We also sent 2 similar letters to the Biden administration telling President Biden and Kamala Harris what we had seen. We didn't hear back from them either, but we're hoping that the Trump administration will stick to what they said they would do, which is to have an open and transparent government, and also that they'll recognize that the Biden administration made a mistake in not meeting with us. We're not asking for the world. We're not asking for decision-making capabilities. We're just asking him to show what we saw in Gaza, and maybe he can see for himself what's happening.
How optimistic are you that the deal on the table right now will solve some of the problems and the violence you've been witnessing in Gaza?
I'm not a political analyst or anything like that, but it's the October 7th attacks came out of the Israeli occupation of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. They weren't just they were horrifying and they were a horrible slaughter, but they didn't come out of nowhere. And if we go back to a situation where Gaza is under siege like it had been for 17 years, with no prospects for peace in the long term, no prospects for human freedom, no prospects for any kind of future, I'm afraid that we're just going back to the conditions that created this horror in the first place. And what the Israelis and Palestinians need is to stop the U.S. to stop pouring fuel on the fire of this conflict by stopping giving the massive amount of weaponry that Israel is able to use to continue the conflict. And if that happens, then a negotiated peace between the 2 sides can take place. It's just my opinion.
All right, trauma surgeon, Gaza medical volunteer, Dr. Feroze Sidhwa, thank you.